This is the first time that a genocide is being committed that we're watching it happen.
In broad daylight, yes.
And so to say that this has happened is no. It's amazing that you can still gaslight people that are watching something in real time. Like, I really feel like people, the 90s called, they want their political messaging back. It's like, I'm fascinated that people are sitting there trying to gaslight me about something that, stop it. Something that I'm watching in live time. And it's just absurd. So, at some point, I think it'll wear out its welcome and it'll just start getting rotated into the circular file where it should belong.
Before we play Jonathan Glazer's clip from the Oscars, make sure that you do go to gen2024.org.
Yes.
Make sure that if you would like to contribute, you have multiple options to contribute.
We do. Apparently, there's something a little glitchy. Our website is only up completely today. So just be aware.
You can go to Act Blue and contribute. If you do not want to go to Act Blue, remember, we always say, if you go to Act Blue, don't leave a tip.
No.
We tip, but not the Democratic establishment.
We tip service workers.
Did you know that Act Blue donated $75,000 to Nancy Pelosi? I always found that to be so incredible.
So
she needs the money.
We do have an option on our website that will allow for a non-Act Blue donation. Chris said he tested it was a little glitchy. He had to use Google Pay. I will make sure to look into that. But in any event, you can always mail checks. And, there are people, actually, thank you to Wyoming again. There are people that like to put checks in the mail, and that's there as well. So I do appreciate the not wanting to go through Act Blue. If there is anything that we can do to facilitate that, whatever that glitch is, I will get to the bottom of it. But today was our first day with our full website up. So yeah, little patience.
You were on a podcast the other night with Miss Rebecca Azur, which was the Leftist Mafia.
Yeah.
Of course, big shout out to our friend, Mike Figueredo.
Well, I like all those guys. It's Mike, it's Lance, it's Matt, it's now Rebecca, who I didn't know from before.
So it is Dieter. So I was right, and you're wrong.
But why is it? No, because deter McBusiness makes so much more fun, makes so much more sense. Because the idea is you're deterring what is considered McBusiness. Like, that just made sense to me. I probably overthought it.
You're making a lot of phone calls, apparently.
I made too many phone calls.
Not too many, not enough.
Let me tell you something. I got in 52 minutes of call time today, and that's it. And I'll be hearing about that tomorrow. I'm doing the best I can. Like, if I have at least a half an hour open, I will sit down and do the calls. And the responses are funny. It ranges from people like not even remembering that they ever supported me in the first place to people that are like, hey, I just saw you on this show. Like, that's so cool you're calling. So it's a very wide range. And I tell you, people, I really, really do not like dialing for dollars. Like, if I were just calling people to shoot the shit and chat with them, I'm good.
If you have any sympathy for Jen, then make sure that you get over.
Yeah, it's sad.
Make a contribution. Use the QR code.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny because the reason I'm not good at the phone calling banking is I end up in conversations with people, and yeah, they might end up donating, but like most people would probably go through 100 calls in the amount of time that I go through, like 25, because I end up talking with the people, which that's the part of it I kind of like. And then I have to get around to asking them for money, which I really hate. So I'm not the most proficient at it, is what I would say.
So that you guys have a big, loud opinions about where Jen should be going on certain podcasts. If you have a suggestion, anybody who wants to get in contact,
yes,
email media@gen2024.org.
I'll go on. I'll talk to anybody.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's people I wouldn't talk to.
There's also apparently somebody who would require you to travel, and that's not.
Well, no, because that's a different thing. And here's the reason, guys, that I've said this before about traveling to go on shows. I am running a grassroots campaign based on the principle that we're trying to transform politics into service. So the idea that I would spend money and/or resources to fly somewhere out of my district to go on a show when most shows can be done virtually is just a little bougie for what I'm trying to do here. And so I don't think it's worth it. And it would really depend. Like, if it was some amazing opportunity, or what I knew would lead to such good fundraising for my team that it would be worth it. So that's really what it comes down to for me, is that it needs to make sense where, why don't the two of you get together and form a lefty sports podcast?
We'll do that after you win.
And as far as the person recommending that I hire Steve is definitely one of my economic advisors. Like, there is no doubt about it. And I would move heaven and earth to make sure that he was properly compensated for all of his contributions, regardless of anything. So that's that. But yes, I like to talk to smart people.
You're going to turn the state from tyranny to service by asking nicely. Actually,
Thank
Jen
you.
is pretty influential, even though you think it's a joke. You can think what you want.
Who thinks I'm a joke?
Well, she thinks it's a joke.
Who does?
Base Chad Thunder joke. He thinks it's a joke.
Actually, you know what? You're wrong. And the reason you're wrong is because when you're the type of person who can go from hanging out with radical leftist anarchists and be just as comfortable going out and hanging out with very, very conservative Trump Republicans and having really meaningful, interesting conversations and discussing things with reason, I actually have some thoughts of that's inspired. So I don't think it's a matter of asking nicely as much as I think it's a matter of approaching things with logic and reason and not tribalism and anger. And I think that when you do that, people are amenable to new ideas. That's all I'm suggesting.
Jay, whether it's Brianna, whether it's anybody, if they're interested in having Jen on,
I'm happy to go on. No,
can't be chasing people down.
I'm not doing it again.
You know, this is the congressional race. No, no ego whatsoever.
That's him saying it, not me.
But this is the congressional race of the year, as far as I can see, especially with the backdrop of what's going on.
I love you, Mark Fabian, and I'm getting old too, and I have to first now go on an interview in a few minutes. But yes.
So, without getting sidetracked, you know, we appreciate you guys. Not going to be able to run the names tonight, but we have to play this clip real quick. Jonathan Glazer wins his Oscar, and this is what he has to say regarding what's going on right now.
Thank you so much. I'm going to read, I'm afraid. Thank you to the Academy for this honor, and to our partners A24, Film 4 Access, and the Polish Film Institute, to the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum for their trust and guidance, to my producers, actors, collaborators. All our choices were made to reflect and confront us in the present, not to say, look what they did then, rather look what we do now. Our film shows where dehumanization leads at its worst. It shaped all of our past and present. Right now, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people. Whether the victims of October the 7th in Israel, or the ongoing attack on Gaza, all the victims of this dehumanization. How do we resist? Alexandra Bistron-Kaladziejczak, the girl who glows in the film as she did in life, chose to. I dedicate this to her memory and her resistance. Thank you.
Oh, I know he caught some shit for this.
He got destroyed for it by corporate media, by saying what a terrible person he was to even bring this up. And what I always find interesting is who in the audience is clapping and who isn't. And it looked like a shit ton of people in the front weren't clapping at all, which just goes to show you how in the biz they really are.
Yeah.
Because they know where their bread's buttered. They're cowards, and nobody's a bigger coward than Amal Clooney. She's the biggest coward of them all because those are her people being massacred.